Go.
Over here.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 76th meeting of the Jacksonville Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee. Our first order of business is to call this meeting to order with the adoption of the agenda. I'm looking for first and a second to adopt our agenda tonight.
I make a motion to.
Thank you, Grace.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel and Rose. All in favor, say aye. All right. We're looking at the minutes of the August 7th meeting. Hard to believe that here we are in October. It feels like we were just here in August. Chelsea, thank you for preparing the minutes. And if everybody has had an opportunity to look them over, we're looking for a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. Thank you so much. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All righty. Dr. Washington has asked me to delegate her speak to Mr. LaCory, who's our Director of our Parks and Facilities. So here we go.
So I think some of the things that we wanted to make you aware of from a big picture set is, if you didn't know, the Amazon facility, which is behind what is going to be and what is today the YMCA, is up and running and I think doing well. So that's an impact economically to all the taxpayers, residents of Jacksonville. That's a good thing. And hopefully, as time goes by, we'll see some more development happen around our community that are going to be good for economic impact. In addition, I want to remind you that NIS has a cleanup this weekend. If you wanted to, neighborhood services, if you wanted to help out with that, we can get you more information. Matter of fact, Chelsea will send an email out tomorrow about where that meeting spot is and at what times they would need you there. They're always looking for volunteers. I know Tracy and I talked the other day. And then last but definitely not least, mark your calendars. National Night Out is on Saturday the 11th. And for those sitting in the room as well as anyone else watching, remember National Night Out this year is going to be held at the Jacksonville Commons, not in the downtown area. Be aware of that. It's a little bit different, larger space. While National Night Out has always been successful, I think the police department is looking for a bigger and better event even this year. So we're excited for them to have that event. And obviously, all the departments will be there that evening and represented. And I'm sure they'll have what you normally would see, entertainment, things like that there. So we encourage you to come out and enjoy.
Mr. LaCory, I just thought about something. When you and Miss Chelsea reach out to Miss Jackson, I do know that this past Friday, Miss Jackson's husband's brother unexpectedly passed away, and I know the funeral service is going to be in Georgia this weekend, so Miss Jackson may not be here, so I don't know if they postponed the cleanup.
So as of Monday, they had not done that.
Okay.
Ms. Trafton, I'm sure, will take the lead on that as well as you've met with Pam before. You know her, she can do that job, I'm sure, and Tracy has a very competent staff under her to be able to keep those events moving forward.
It's for the Fall and Fresh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then you'll need LaShawn Hurston. She'll be there.
Moving into my report, and staying in the NIS world, you know, they're developing or selling some properties that they've developed recently. One of them is in the downtown area on Ann Street. And one of the things that where we can, you know, we talk about working together with each department. You know, we like to think we work with every department because we do a lot of maintenance around the city. So we're definitely always working with other departments. But NIS has recently sold or completed a home downtown. And there is still some checklist items that they're getting done. One of the items that we're going to take on and do for them is next to their driveway, there's a section of 24-foot by 6-foot pavered area that needed to be done. And we can save the city and Tracy's budget a little money, we can handle that internally instead of bidding that out and having a contractor come in and do that kind of work. Those are things that we add value there. We can do that sort of stuff. And Tracy and I had that conversation. I said, you know what, don't pull that out. We can knock that out for you in 2 days. And those are the type of relationships that we're all, I think, trying to foster here at the city. Obviously, you're going to hear some of that tonight when Pat starts talking, because her relationship is very integral to not just what she does, not just the community, but every department in the city. So, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. A couple other things, when we were approving the minutes from August, and yes, winter is coming. And what does that mean for us? The elves are out at the Parks Department, I can tell you that. We've worked on some of our decorations for Christmas. We had an actual meeting today down at Riverwalk Park with our other half, the recreation side of the house, to kind of coordinate some ideas of what we're going to be doing for Winterfest this year, maybe potentially make a change here or there, but we went through that process today. All in the same breath, we're still mowing, not at the rate we were. We're still picking up trash. We're still lining ball fields off. And one of the things I wanted to share with you is that, the recreation side of the house, Susan Baptist, that side of the house, they are seeing an uptick in a lot of their programs, especially youth sports, more teams, more adult teams, more games, and that's wonderful. That has a direct impact on the park staff, because we're the people in the background that do those fields and make those facilities ready for the public to come out and use those facilities. So I have a belief that in 2019 we were at this level, and then for a couple years with COVID, things went down and we kind of stayed stagnant. And I think what we're seeing, and this is my term, we're in that post-COVID time. We're in a growth spurt. Our leagues are getting bigger. People are coming to our parks in numbers that we've not seen in a while, and they're greater than those numbers. All those are good things, but we are definitely in a growth spurt, and you should know that. I mean, that has an effect on all of us, and that's a wonderful thing to be. Those are challenges you'd like to have, and we're going through those right now, and I would expect we're going to continue to keep going through those types of challenges. Any questions about anything we're doing?
Could you give a small report on the process or progress that's happening down at the end of Riverwalk Landing?
Yes, ma'am.
I went by on the river the other day and took a picture and sent it to Mr. LaQuarrie so he could see it from the water side. It looked great.
So down at the end of LP Willingham Park and Kerr Street, the marina, that property that we started developing a couple of years ago, we are literally coming to the finish line on that. And if you haven't been down there, really the last big task was to get the pavilion installed down there. And if you haven't been down there, they're not done with it, but they're pretty close. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's a pretty, and what Beth didn't share with you when she sent that picture to me, it felt like you sent it from the river. And it was pretty impressive to see that from the other, from that.
We were like, maybe sometime we'll drive by here and there'll be a band playing there.
Well, maybe, right.
When they have a band and all the boats.
But our hope is the contract to have that finished was by November 2nd. But we feel like in the next 10 to 15 days, they're going to be done a little early. Now, that's always weather permitting. Now, there'll be some what I call cleanup and tune-up for us to come in. There's some landscaping we'll do. We'll clean the site up and make it more presentable. But I would expect in the next 30 to 60 days that thing would be ready to roll and looking really good. So, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. And last but not least, and I want to share this with you because we don't oftentimes get a chance to talk about who we are and what we do, but I had an opportunity today to meet with a garden club, and I met with them. for about 45 minutes and talked to them about who we are, what we do, and it was a good experience for me. I think it was a really good experience for them. I think the people in that meeting were familiar with the city of Jacksonville, but really weren't familiar with what we did and what areas are being maintained by who, what, why, and all of those sorts of things. So it was a good experience for me to go speak to them. I've done that once before with a little bit different garden club, but this one was my first time with them, and I had a good time. And I know Ms. Williams had invited me over there, and it was a good experience, and it's a chance for us to spread the word about who we are and what we do, and that's a good thing. So, any other questions? Daniel?
I think last year, because the next meeting is early December, last year, didn't we go around, get in the van and go around looking at houses that had the Christmas decorations? Are we doing that again?
So we did that in addition to a meeting, but I think that's a wonderful idea. I think that's something we should talk about tonight. Instead of having the meeting in here, we can actually load up and drive around and look at some of those Christmas lights and go through that process. And I can make Rose aware of that, and she can post that our meeting is going to be more of a mobile meeting instead of a stationary meeting. Thank you, Daniel. And if you guys are good with that, Beth?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Dr. Washington has Friday tonight. I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
The holiday parade, the theme for the float. I need to get my.
I'm not sure that I've seen what the theme is yet.
Yes.
I thought it was storybook.
And when you talk about the holiday parade, obviously there's the holiday parade, there's also the Veterans Parade, which are coming, those things are coming up in the next month. And I'd be remiss from saying, and I know Dr. Washington's not feeling well tonight, and I know she would have mentioned this. Don't forget on October 23rd, the Beirut Memorial has their event, and just be aware, invite for what? Parade. Yeah, and obviously, I think last year we invited our group. We have a float every year. We go through that process. We invited you last year, just as we will this year. If you want to ride on the back of our float and basically take a hay ride around, we're more than happy to do that. Just remember, there are some rules you'll have to live by, meaning that you're going to have to get there early. You're going to have to park it's not, you don't get to drive to the college, park your car, get on, and it drops you off back there. So there is a process to it, but that's okay. You know that ahead of time. The bus service is running. There are ways around that, but you just need to be aware of that, okay? Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. That was awesome. Any other questions? So let's get to the exciting part of the meeting. So tonight we have Pat Donovan Brandenburg with us, and she's our stormwater manager. And, we can't say enough good about Pat on any day. But the fact that she's brought in, and I'm probably going to get the numbers wrong, close to, or maybe a little more than $17 million of revenue to this city to do some improvements to our waterways, and look, for us, being a little selfish, our waterways to me is a lot of the park areas, because we have parks on waterways. When we talk about Northeast Creek or the Wilson Bays or even LP Willingham waterfront and Kerr Street and those areas and Sturgeon City and so forth and so on. It goes on, the marina, blah, blah, blah. So we're very excited, and as much as we're excited to have her here tonight, we're proud of the fact that she's done something that, I can't say enough good about. Bringing in that sort of revenue is very abnormal, and that's putting it mildly. $17 million is a lot of money when it's free money. Now, Pat probably is going to take me to task on that and say nothing's free, but that's a big deal. And so with that introduction, Pat, I'm going to turn it over to you. And
Well, thanks, Mike. I guess guess what we have to remember is how far we've come, is to remember that the New River was closed to all recreational and commercial uses from the city of Jacksonville to Midway for almost 20 years, from 1980 until 2001. We reopened up the river in 2001, and it has remained open since then. And so, you know, our parks just augment the beauty that everybody is drawn to when we go outside. Getting back to nature seems to calm our soul. That is what the waterfront, that's what our parks and our trees are for, is to help calm our souls, because some days it just seems crazier than others. But this is just our annual update real quick on everything. I'm sorry, not even everything. A small snapshot of what the Stormwater Water Quality Division does, where you operate out of engineering under Wally's direction. He's a great boss, by the way. We also have the Adopt a Stream program. And of the Adopt a Stream program, we had 17 cleanups last year. We did 137 miles. We had 143 participants. And the 55-gallon bags of trash, we pick those up and actually break them down and recycle the aluminum and the plastic that is recyclable, and then the rest of the trash does go to the landfill. So this is just an idea of the stream cleanups that occurred last year throughout the city. We have a lot of waterways. The city of Jacksonville is in a coastal county for a reason. There's water everywhere. And then we are still blessed. Please, Lord, let him outlive me. Jim Wheeler, he is our part-time help with our Clean and Green program. He cleans up trash at 20 hours a week plus. He also has adopted his own stream, and he has blessed us for a long time, and his numbers are staggering. He's picked up 16,000 bags of trash, 55-gallon bags of trash over the last 15 years. And he's done he does 137 to 150 miles every year. He is a retired Marine. And I hope that I have the stamina that he does when I'm his age. I'm so proud of him. One of the other things that we do is we do inspect all of the city's SCMs. We do the city's SCMs as well as private SCMs. Now, I will tell you, we were blessed. Jason's division helped us by taking over some of the maintenance of these SCMs, and SCM is a stormwater control measure. Those are ponds, wetlands, rain gardens, swells, sand filters, those kinds of things. So we still inspect them, and we still do minor maintenance, but Jason has taken over the big maintenance, because who knows plants and trees better than our Parks Department? So we're blessed there. We do still have the trash trout in Scales Creek. That was a grant that we got 2 years ago. And the amount of trash that we collect coming down White. Now, you have to remember the trash trout is in Scales Creek before the water goes under 24. So it's right down from the city's lift station. It collects trash from our industrial area and Western, meaning the mall, the hospital, all of the industrial area that does not have any stormwater control measures, because all of that development was pre-stormwater rules and regulations. So everything leaving those sites goes into a drainage ditch, which goes into a blue line stream, and then the Northeast Creek, and then of course the river. There was a huge stream of trash that we found going in Scales Creek. And we clean this, our staff cleans this every week. And all of the data that we collect goes to Duke University for an overall paper on the microplastics that's entering our ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. So our data is actually part of a big project with Duke. So as Mike was saying, the city was very blessed. We've gotten a lot of money.
More than 17 million, isn't it?
It's closer to almost 22. But I will tell you, it's wonderful because it's non-matching. The city doesn't have to match any of these dollars, But I will also tell you, it's a lot of work when you
Yeah.
get a grant. There's a lot of hoops you have to jump
Well,
through.
and just the administrative compliance and having done grants for the police department for over a decade, you'll have a part-time job, like on top of your regular job, because you have to be in compliance. And we've got great people in city finance that help, but you still have
Thank
to do
God.
the work. And,
Absolutely.
And you have to file the reports, and you have to, manage the site visits when they come to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's a lot of responsibility.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm grateful for our finance department because they make sure that I don't miss anything and I don't never want to jeopardize the city. So that's always important to me. So of one of the grants, I'm just going to real briefly touch on some of the restoration work. We've got 4 major stream restoration projects. One of them is, of course, Sandy Run Branch. And let's see, I think she said I could do my finger. Uh-oh, nope. Nope.
They're going to have to draw it for you.
Wait.
You're gonna set it.
Oh, thank you. I thought it was set. So here, nope, still not yet. Okay. Up at the top of where the blue line is, that is Onslow Drive. I will tell you during Matthew and Florence, water from Sandy Run Branch coming from Western Boulevard overtopped that road and blew out the embankment on both sides. We have done some work at that site, but it still continues to flood due to the amount of increased development along the Western Boulevard area. So with this, we are actually looking at taking where and hopefully getting an easement and or looking at purchasing the property where the old bingo place was. There's a lot of impervious surface area there. So we're going to try and get an easement and make a larger floodplain so that we have a larger area for water to be held back so it'll slowly go under the road instead of over the road. And then all the way down, you'll see the tank in the bottom portion. That is where our main pump station is, and that tank there is actually holding capacity in case we do have a major storm and we lose electricity and we can't get anything out to land out. That is so that we don't have a sewage spill. But we're looking at restoring the wetlands along Sandy Run Branch around the city property right outside of the main pump station, which then flows under 17 Bridge, and you've got Cheney Creek and Phillips Park. So there used to be a seawall, and you can see the white dotted line, and then it's red and blue, and then another white dotted line. So we've already removed 2 sections of that seawall, and we've restored the wetlands on both sides. This is the final portion to be removed because it's about to fall in. Literally, it's leaning way over. So we'll remove this seawall. We'll restore the embankment grass back to a gentle slope so a child could walk down and back out and on his own accord. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a fishing pier out into Cheney Creek and parallel to shore. And then to help weigh that down for storms, because all of these watersheds, the water rises, is we actually will use hog slats. So instead of wood, we'll use something heavier, the hog slat, so that water comes up through it and back down, but the weight as well as the pilings will hold it down. And then to add on top of that, we will actually do a living shoreline and attach that to the bottom of the pier to give more weight, but more importantly, to add bivalves, which are your oysters and clams and mussels, which do a great job at filtering water, which is how all this started 28 years ago with the Wilson Bay Initiative. So we will add a living shoreline, which will put in bivalves. And then the little green alcoves, those will actually be floating wetlands, and they will be flowering plants, but they'll be wetlands. And so to add some beauty to the actual fishing pier / dock. And then Northeast Creek, this one's the big one. This one is, I've tried many times to get this one funded. Yay! So So we're going to remove the Hurricane Florence dilapidated boardwalk. Once we remove that, we will then come out and do another fishing pier / dock that will run parallel to shore in Northeast Creek. We will do the same thing. We will do a living shoreline under the boardwalk. We will use the hog slats. But then, if you notice, on either side of the boat ramp and on the other side where the boardwalk stops, we will continue our living shoreline to protect the wetlands that we're restoring behind it, because we've been monitoring our wetlands in our area for the last 10 years, and what we have found is we're losing shoreline at a rate of 3 to 7 feet. And so if that continues, we're going to lose our wetlands, and our wetlands is where we store our stormwater runoff when storms hit. If we don't have that storage capacity, more homes, more businesses will be impacted. So we're putting great efforts into protecting our wetlands so that we can protect what's behind it. And homes and businesses and lives are special. And then the fourth one, of course, is Scales Creek. Scales Creek comes down again from the industrial area on the other side. Scales Creek crosses under and along White Street. You've got a lot of water that comes down there. It's very flash flooding. And if you know anything about Hardison Hills, which is in the bottom portion, when it rains now, there is water that covers that area to the tune of cars are drowned. And you can't get in and out for hours. And after Florence, it was a week. And as if you notice, there is no back door to Hardison Hills. So if there's an emergency during a storm, you can't get in there. You can't cross that raging Scales Creek with a boat. It is flowing so hard that it creates a whirlpool right at the mouth under where it goes under 24. And if you get sucked into that, that's it. It's over. So we're looking at restoring the floodplain, restoring the wetlands, raising the height of the road into Hardison Hills, and putting a larger culvert underneath, because underneath that bridge is a very small pinch point. We're going to put a larger culvert and raise the road. Now, will it fix major storms? No. But like this nuisance flooding when we had in June, they were flooded again. They were flooded twice in June, twice in July, and that was just a rain event.
Right.
That's what we're trying to get rid of, is the nuisance flooding just from rain events. And then, here's the enormous watershed that flows to that one point that goes under 24 and on to base. That is Scales Creek entire watershed. It goes all the way up to the bypass. I mean, it's way up past the mall. It's a huge watershed with no way to control the amount of water coming down. So we are applying for more funds to address even more of the Scales Creek watershed to do a better job. So, of course, my favorite, the Oyster Highway also was blessed. And this is an update. Remember, we are now in phase 4. Had no idea a long time ago when I started this, there'd be a phase 4. I promised staff there will not be a phase 5, but I can't do that. So phase 1 are the 6 blue stars. It was 6 reefs, a half acre in size. Phase 2 were another 6 reefs, half acre in size. Those are the yellow stars. And this is what they look like. We use new substrate, oyster castles, oyster catchers, 90 reefs on each side. Then phase 3 came along. We expanded all the reefs from a half acre to an acre. These reefs, as you see in the map on the left-hand side, we put them parallel to shore. So phase 1 is in blue, phase 2 is in red. That's how we expanded. We expanded out into the deeper portion of the river. Some of them are shallow, some of them are deeper. So you could walk from shore and fish from base, or you can pull up by boat. And our goal was to increase the fisheries. So we've paid UNC Chapel Hill to monitor these reefs from day one. And from phase 1 to phase 2, from the data, we made changes. From phase 2 to phase 3, we made changes. From phase 3 to phase 4, we've made changes. The most important thing that I could say tonight is when you do a restoration project, the one and done mentality doesn't work. You have to continually maintain a project of this size. It's sort of, my analogy is, you buy a brand new house and you don't clean it for 20 years. Really? Do you really want to live in the house 20 years later? Now let's add 3 boys to it. No. And 5 dogs and 2 cats. 20 years, no cleaning. So we're just continually adding to assure that decades down the road, the New River stays as healthy as possible. So these are the oyster castles, and this is the only substrate that we're putting in for phase 3 and phase 4 because it lasts longer. And this is what that looks like. It literally looks like concrete Legos. Mm-hmm. And this is how we put a mat down on the bottom. We put 6 blocks on the bottom and interlock 2 on the top. The blocks are 35 pounds a piece dry. They are 40 pounds a piece wet. So combined, it's a heavy unit. It doesn't move. So with phase 4, we actually are adding another 180 reefs to all 12 sites. This August, we delivered the blocks and the mats to 6 of the sites. And so it was 20 pallets of blocks and 10 pallets of mat. We delivered to 2, 4, 6, 8. I tried to do even numbers, but I had to throw an odd. 9 and 12. And that is because of their location. And then in April, we will do the remaining 6 sites. I wasn't sure how many reefs staff and I could build. We bit off more than we could chew, but what else is new? So, of the 1,000 reefs that we're supposed to be building in August, I still have October. I'm only a fourth of the way done, if that tells you anything. Job security. Job security. So these are the castles at site number 12. And again, the purple is not to make you go crazy and look cross-eyed. This is to show you the 180 reefs going around the perimeter and through the middle of all the old reefs. And of course, this is what people, every time we go out to work on our reefs, there are always people fishing on the reefs. And anytime anyone sees me, they always go, look at what I caught. So I look at fish pictures a lot, which is great because I remember when the fishing was not great in the river. And then, of course, because of the city's efforts, a team of us went to Colorado and the team presented on what we've been doing for 28 years. And my thought was, if the city doesn't win it for this, we're not ever going to win it, because this city is awesome in what they've done and accomplished. But we did win the All-American City for our environmental component that the Jacksonville has been cleaning up our watershed for 28 years and continues to do so. It's something everybody needs to be very, very proud about because everybody had a part in it. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I was wondering, in the local areas, why you don't find oysters and reefs, and why you just find them in certain areas? Say, for example, in the local creeks, because they're not planted there, they're just planted in one area?
So let me, real quick, history lesson. Oyster has to have a hard substrate to settle on. When it's born, it's so small that you can only see it with a microscope. It has 2 weeks to find its place to land. That whole term, location, 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 it is key for the survival of a baby oyster. What it's searching for is the calcium bicarbonate that is emitted by shell, any shell, into the water. So he's sensing and he finds the shell, he lands, he cements himself in, and he starts growth. The Wilson Bay wastewater treatment facility, the base and the air station had 8 wastewater treatment facilities between the two. We were all permitted to treat the waste from the base, the air station, and the city of Jacksonville to secondary level and discharge the treated waste organics downriver. That covered up all hard substrate between here and Stones Bay because we did it for over 50 years. So again, the Oyster Highway is reversing what we all did. But again, that's why the city is so great, is the city stood up and said it's our moral responsibility to restore this watershed. And to today, they still say that. What elected official says that? Who takes ownership anymore? I mean, seriously, this is a great place to work. So in the smaller creeks, until there's hard substrate and/or the right salinity, oysters need at least 5 parts per thousand in a salinity, but prefer 10. And back 28 years ago, do you remember that treated waste was putting millions of gallons of fresh water into this part of the system as it slowly made its way down? Back then, we had 0 parts per thousand. Now, especially since we're in year 3 of a drought, no matter how much rain we got in June and July, we are still in a drought. The salinities in Wilson Bay are 25 parts per thousand. It's only supposed to be 12. Open ocean water, anywhere in the ocean, is 35 parts per thousand. That tells you, and we are 20 miles from the inlet, and it's 25 parts per thousand. We are still in a drought. So the salinities and hard substrate are the 2 things that oysters need. So if salinities continue upriver, oysters will recruit into some of those tributaries, meaning Cheney Creek, Mill Creek, Northeast Creek, up Southwest Creek. It's very, very likely. But great questions. Thanks for asking.
I have
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
I don't know whether this is an adequate question or not, but does global warming have anything with the water coming closer and closer inland?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately. That's another reason why this money to restore the wetlands and to protect those wetlands with living shorelines. We've already applied for more money to put a living shoreline completely around Sturgeon City to protect those wetlands, because that's where we've been monitoring the most amount of loss. I mean, wetlands are very, very important. So we'll continue to apply for funding to protect as many as possible, or as much as possible. But yes.
I have a question, and it has to do with religion. Have you had any requests for pastors to do river baptismals?
I have not.
I feel that.
I have not, but it is clean enough. We have a triathlon every year, and we have certain parameters that we have to monitor and turn in the data for in order for that triathlon to have the swim portion. So the bacteria levels are monitored by us every week. Every week, and have been since 2000. We have a huge data set.
That's a good question. Because you know what? It made me think back in the day when they used to take you to the creek and just baptize you.
Different world. Any other questions?
Pat, who else is on your staff that if something was to happen to you could step into your position?
No
I mean, you don't want
There
that.
is no substitute.
We've got to have somebody, as much as work you have put into this effort, to help you or to, take your place or to help you train somebody.
So right
Do you have
now,
anybody?
engineering has, believe it or not, 4 engineers in our department. I've never, ever had 4 engineers. I was lucky when I first started to have 2, and then a little while I had 1. And then for a long time, I had 0. Long time, I had 0.
Your heart is so great, that's what's made all this possible, is your love for it. And that is an important part, that in education and stuff like that too. So
God
that
bless,
makes a
thank
big
you.
difference.
But I do have 2 really good staff. Aaron is our water quality coordinator. He's been with us almost 10 years. And then Wilhelmina is a new person that's been with me almost 2, but she started out as a summer intern, and she was so positive and energetic that when the position opened up, she applied for it and of course got it. And she's been here for 2 years. She is now looking at staying and taking over that role, her and Aaron both. She is getting ready to get her master's in engineering, environmental engineering with Dr. Bill Hunt at NC State. And she's going to do a research thesis down at Sturgeon City that we are actually looking at using robots to help monitor the inspections of SCMs. And so she's going to use her robot to help monitor the depth of the sediments in ponds and constructed wetlands. That's what her thesis will be on. So yes, ma'am, there are people that are just as passionate as me behind me that can take over. But thank you, those were very kind words.
Yes, you've earned it. You've earned it.
Thank you.
Very much.
Any other questions?
Just a statement that, Pat is a very valuable resource to those of us who live on the river. And I knew her years before I ever moved down there, worked for the city together. And whenever there is a question or anything is coming up, and she's extremely available to the citizenry. And it's been very valuable to me in my change to move downtown. But when your castles were going down the river on a barge, I got 2 phone calls. Somebody must be building a giant brick house. I looked, and I was like, no, they're working on this oyster reef. Those are oyster castles. Well, they thought I was nuts. They thought I was nuts, and I was like, no, that's the wrap that surround them. They're just like big cinder blocks. And so they were.
We put extra security around those blocks. I was worried about when the crane picked it up and put it on the barge, or when they picked it up and put it into the water. Plus, I thought I could build them faster than we're building them, but those things were heavy. There's only 3 of us. So I wanted to make sure that they were visible, marked, but could withstand, wave action until I could actually unwrap them and build them. So
very nice.
Longevity.
Nice little wrapped up packages. It looked great. Does anyone have anything else?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The labor work, is all that contracted out, or is it a mixture of city workers and contractors?
For the what?
The different projects you have going.
So we as city staff are doing the Oyster Highway. It's a point of self-pride at this point. But for the stream restoration projects, that will have to be contracted out. And so we will be putting a lot of people to work. Because it's a 3-year grant, and it'll take a while to do the processes on all 4 streams, but it'll be worth it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all for having me here, and again, thank you for your support and kind words.
It's always a pleasure to have you. You make science fun and interesting. I wish you had been my college instructor.
I'm enjoying this brief.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
No worries.
All righty. Well, our next point is open discussion, and we did touch on a little bit for maybe doing something together in December.
Yeah, well, I'll reach out to Ms. Rose just to get the formality of it taken care of, and we'll reach out to transportation to make sure that we can lock down a bus driver, and we'll have the bus. And as we move forward, Chelsea will send information out about what time we'll meet, which will be at City Hall, and what our expected route will be, and that sort of
Sounds great.
It was hot chocolate involved the last time, wasn't it?
Always.
It's hot chocolate and Krispy Kreme.
There you go.
That's right. Thank you, Chelsea.
You're welcome.
Chelsea said I'll have to put that down in my notes.
She's beside me. So our next meeting will take place December 4th, which we'll try to work that in with seeing the Christmas lights. Our meetings, as always, are on Thursdays at 6 o'clock. As we go into 2026, boy, that sounds crazy. February 5th and April 2nd, so please mark your calendars. And with no other items for discussion, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Grace. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This is a very, very adept group. Look, we're right in at 6:46. We always get it done under an hour.
That's it.